All right, we are back.
What's up?
Hey guys, welcome to episode 4 of Ship to Shore podcast. I'm Hannah Enzer. This is my husband Corey.
Hello.
Hello. We're excited to be back. We have a couple of reminders before we dive back into our story. Yard sale tomorrow. 5 a.m.
Come buy everything.
Come buy all our stuff. You can check our Instagram or Facebook for the location details. And I'll have some sort of indication of where it will be. Also, if you live in Foster's, there should be some signs around. So be on the lookout. Come buy all our stuff, and we will so much appreciate it. You know, some of the money that we're planning to use from this yard sale, we're hoping to turn back into something for the community in some type of way, some kind of event or giveaway or something good that we can do. So portion of the funds will go to this podcast and to our community. So come and support us. Also, April 22nd, Earth Day, we are doing sort of our first Ship to Shore event per se. We are going to be picking up trash along Romulus Road with our family. We encourage everyone that wants to join us to do that and tag us in posts that you may make about it if you are going to do it, so that we can share that we're starting small, but we hope to make these events bigger and bigger and make them even more awesome.
And maybe one day have a meetup, have a barbecue.
Oh my gosh, Ship to Shore barbecue, dude, at Broughton Park. That'd be so cool.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool.
So
that'd be really cool. Do you want to jump right into it, or do you want to hit a little Love is Blind update?
I think we should hit Love is Blind.
Okay.
Really, the only things that I have to comment on right now are I just love Brett and Tiffany.
Yeah, they're awesome.
I feel like we've been going deep down some rabbit holes on Reddit with Love is Blind.
Those people are crazy. They like follow all of their social pages and like screenshot stuff. They go deep.
Apparently there was something that Jackie said about Marshall.
She had to take it down, I think, because I think it broke the NDA they have to sign. Because it indicated that they do not get married at the end. She was not stoked. Well,
apparently right before she had to meet his sister or whatever, he had called her something nasty, or said something terrible to her, and then she had to like put on a happy face. And it's funny that she says that's what happened. She deleted the story obviously, but did you feel like she was kind of weird when she was meeting his sister, like fake? And she's usually pretty genuine.
You could kind of tell it was weird. Yeah, she was putting on. I
could definitely tell that she was putting on. And honestly, I hope everything's going okay with her family, because I know that the show hasn't, probably for her privacy, they haven't disclosed a lot of what she's dealing with, but it sounds like she came from a really terrible home situation.
Yeah, I think maybe she has a sick family member or something she has to take care of. Something like that.
Or like a younger sibling or something.
Something probably.
But anyway, and of course, I guess a few episodes ago, Zach, gets back with Bliss, and Irina's long gone.
If he'll just stop singing and dancing, I'll be happy. I'll be fine. Just stop singing, please. Stop dancing on TV.
That is one of the cringiest things to me.
Why?
Like, if you can sing pretty well or play an instrument pretty well, it's fine to post it. It's fine to do it publicly. But if you know that you're like, on a scale of 1 to 10, you're like a probably 4 or 5 singer, don't.
Yeah. You've had nobody in your life that loves you enough to tell you to shut the hell up in public.
People used to always hate on Simon Cowell on American Idol, but he was always the realest. I mean, they need somebody in their life to be like, look, you're awesome, and there's probably some things that you can do amazing, but singing isn't one of them. Hang it up. You can't carry it too.
Give it up, girl.
So that's our little Love is Blind update, and now we're going to, I guess, continue our story, the story of us.
Where we leave off.
So I'm pregnant with Sawyer. We had decided to move back home.
Right.
I found a baby doctor here in Tuscaloosa and started making my monthly
trips from Huntsville to Tuscaloosa every month. in that Honda.
Man, down 65.
We should have moved sooner. That sucked.
Oh my gosh. Well, honestly, that car got great gas mileage though.
It did.
It was a,
Until
man, but
smashed.
it smelled so bad. Like just an ashtray. We smoked so many cigarettes in that car.
That was awesome. And then we're like, shit, now we gotta get a new car that doesn't smell like cigarettes too. Because they put the baby in here.
Yeah, and I think we had that car when Sawyer was born.
Yeah, we brought him home in it.
But we cleaned it really good because I had stopped smoking
Oh
cigarettes.
yeah. Well, you did. It took me a while to quit.
Yeah, but you did quit, didn't you?
I did quit. Actually, you quit, then I quit, and then we both started smoking again without telling each other, and then just discovered on our own that
After
we were
he was
smoking.
born.
Yeah.
That's right. But we moved back for good around June of 2013.
Mm-hmm.
Sawyer was due in August.
Yeah.
And we moved back in with my parents just temporarily, and I think we got a storage unit.
Started house shopping.
Yeah. We were like, well, I guess our next step is we got to have a place to live, and we didn't want an apartment. Mm-hmm. And you felt really strongly that we should buy a house. I
did. Well, I felt like we need a place to bring this child home to that's ours. That's going to be ours for what we thought was going to be forever at the time. You know, we don't have that house anymore.
The house, not the kids.
Yeah, the house.
Kids definitely ours.
No, they don't let you take them back. There's a no refund policy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought it really important. You not so much. I think we struggled a lot with deciding whether or not we should go, because it's a big decision, and we were still young, not a lot of credit, and what we did have wasn't that good, you know. So trying to figure it out.
I mean, within the past, like, a little over a year up into that moment, we had met back up, dated for a couple months, got married, 6 or 7, got married, moved towns and jobs, and then moved back towns and jobs, because that was another thing with Plato's, is the manager at the Tuscaloosa store was leaving out. They needed a manager here, so I was able to we transferred back, except you went back to bread routes. And you ran bread routes for a while, and we did not realize how difficult that would be until after Sawyer was born. But
I was like, it's no problem. I'll just go to bed at 8 o'clock. You take care of the baby after that. I'll get up at 3, go to work, and it'll be fine. And it was not the move.
We were so just like, I mean, you know, you have all these people in your ear when you're pregnant, like, oh, you better rest. When
everybody
the baby comes,
knows
you won't get no
everything
rest.
When you're pregnant. When you're gonna have a baby, everybody you meet knows everything that's the right thing to do. It's everybody. Shut up.
That's true.
Shut up. Let me do this.
Everybody wants to put in their 2 cents.
Gosh.
And it's fine, you know, it never really offended me like it does some people, but I just feel like I didn't listen to some of those statements, because I thought, well, if you've had a kid, you just know. We'll get into that in just a minute, but it's hard when a baby's born. We found a house.
Because we had to have one.
The Starlight Drive house.
Oh,
I
man.
loved that house. It was,
looking back, I did love that house.
It was just a cute little cookie cutter cottage home.
Too close to the neighbors. I don't like those kind of neighborhoods. But
especially neighbors.
Yeah, if I could have taken that house and putting it on the property that we're on now, that would be the dream.
For sure.
Yeah.
But we were so proud of that house, and we literally closed on it the week before
Yeah,
Sawyer was born.
7 days later, we went to get induced.
Yeah, so I was big pregnant, and then August 15th, 2013.
Happy birthday to you.
I know. It was a day I'll never forget. I was induced. I went in at 5 o'clock that morning to big hospital here in town, and we were scared shitless. We had not slept. We were just like, what is going to happen? And that was the start of a really, really long day.
A rough 24 hours for you. That was tough.
Well, we went in that morning, and I think it was lots of complications. You know, the epidural didn't take. They hit a bundle of nerves in my spine. I
heard you make noises I've never heard a human make.
I had an allergic reaction to one of the medications, and like my heart rate dropped to like nothing, and it was so scary. So many scary moments happened that day.
And then after 14 hours of that, they were like, actually, you can't have the baby this way.
Yeah, they were like, look, your baby's heart rate is dipping. He is not going to fit through, and at this point, we just need to do an emergency C-section. And I was like, no. I was like, I'm sorry. I'm not letting you put that needle in my back again. Mm-hmm. So, no. And I started to cry, and I was just panicked. And I think the only way that I was able to just like do it is because I knew that was the only way to bring him into the world. Mm-hmm. And I was like, well, we got to do what we got to do, you know? So they wheeled me back. And that was the most terrifying experience of my life. If you've never been, like, the OR when you're still awake is...
Dude, it's so creepy.
So bright, so white, monitors beeping. Like, I don't like being able to hear or feel my heartbeat.
Creepy is the wrong word that I use. It's unsettling. Mm-hmm. Because, man, well, for you it was totally different, I guess, because they, like, wheeled you in, and you had this big curtain on, you know, and they had all these things hooked up to you.
Yeah.
And you were just, like, looking at the ceiling or whatever.
Well, yeah, and, like, shaking. I was nauseated.
Well, and we just found out 20 minutes before that you're going to have surgery.
Yeah.
We didn't know. We didn't go into the day thinking that.
And then, so they bring you in, and they start the surgery. Everything's fine. And then, they had to push on me really hard to get Sawyer out. So they were like, it was like all these people just like literally pushing on me as hard as they could. And I just remember going, oh, I can't breathe. And they were like, you can't breathe. And I was like, no, I can't.
Well, at some point you started like, I guess you started to like gain feeling, and you started like bucking on the table, and they said that. They were like, she's bucking, hit her with the juice or whatever they said, and they hit you with it, and you were like, oh, I'm fine now.
It was a terrible, it
was awful.
I hated that part of the experience because, yes, there was something that happened to me. I don't remember it, but I apparently started to, like, move on the operating table. I started to regain feeling, and while they had me, like, splayed open. So they had to put me completely under, and that's not something typical they have to do in C-section. So when I woke up, I was in, like, a 6x6 room. Oh, and let me just say, I did get to see the baby.
Yeah.
They lifted Sawyer up over the curtain after they got him out, and I heard him crying, and of course there's all these emotions, and the doctor's like, have you guys been to Japan? Because you got a sumo wrestler here. And I was like, holy crap,
he was a big ass baby.
He weighed 9 pounds and 6 ounces, and he was 20.5 inches long.
He was thick.
He was humongous. Round head. This round with like a cone like this big on top of it, because he had tried to squeeze his big fat head through, and he wasn't going. And I woke up. It was just like a tiny, you remember? It was like a tiny little point.
I remember.
It was
I forgot about that.
There wasn't no going through that canal.
Oh my God.
But I woke up in this like 6x6 tiny little room, and I just remember there was so many people around me. You know, my parents, your parents, everybody.
Oh, yeah.
And they handed me the baby, and they were like, here's your baby. And I just was so drugged and like overwhelmed. I just remember going, oh, you know.
Yeah.
But it was an incredible feeling holding him for the first time.
Yeah, that was really great.
It was one of the best days of my life. One of the worst experiences, but one of the best results.
Yeah. We won't call out the hospital, though.
No, I just said the big hospital here in town. You know
it was
where
not,
it is.
It was not a great experience as far as that goes. We changed hospitals for the next baby, actually.
Now, my doctor, I loved.
Oh, he was great.
My nurse, my precious nurse that I have with me, I still remember her name. I won't say it, but she advocated for me and was amazing.
Yeah.
And nurses are absolutely incredible.
She checked on me a lot too.
Yeah. Because
she could tell that I was so worried about you, because they were doing all kinds of crazy shit to you that I was like, this isn't supposed to go this way. I think
almost died a couple times.
Dude, yeah, it was so scary, man.
When they gave me that medicine that I had that reaction to, like, that's one of the scariest I've ever been, because I felt like my life leaving me.
Oh my God.
They were like, okay, Miss Enzer, we're going to give you this medicine as a test to make sure you can tolerate it. If you start to feel nauseous at all, let us know immediately. And I was like, okay. And like, as soon as the liquids, they started to push on the syringe, I was like, I'm going to throw up.
That's exactly what you did. You just slumped back.
And everybody just started panicking, and it was so weird. Like, I could just feel like everything going dark. And then it was just like, blue, and I just powered back up.
Dads are so helpless at the hospitals during that. Like you're just standing back watching them just like manhandle you and like work on you like you're a car. And they're just like,
yeah,
it's nuts, man.
when
you're
they
so
lifted
scared.
me up after that, I remember you were like huddled on the floor, like across the room from me, like
I was on the floor,
like you were like stumped,
yeah,
like you had gone to your knees, you know, squatting, and you were just like squatted on the floor,
realize,
like,
yeah. Oh like, god, yeah, that looks like me. Oh no, shit.
I think you freaked out, and I was
a couple times that day.
Out.
Well, I was freaking out outside of the operating room because, like I said, you know, we found out 20 minutes before that we're going to do this, so they just walked us back there. They wheeled you into the room. They said, you sit here. You know, here's your hat and your gown or whatever and your mask, and just like I was just sitting there, like my legs going crazy, and one by one, doctors and nurses would come by and just like scrub in and walk in and scrub in and walk in. And I'm like, how many of them does it take? What are they going to do to her?
And it's so routine to them. I don't even think they think about, you know,
they don't.
Like they do 20 of them a day.
They treat it like they're working on a car, like, you know, oh, the spark plug's gone, hand me, you know, like they're just working on you like that.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah.
It was a crazy day.
But we got him here. We got him here, and he was healthy.
He was
safe.
so healthy. He was a big, beautiful, precious baby. That moment, I could just, sometimes I close my eyes and I just relive those first hours after he was born over and over, trying to breastfeed, which did not work out for me, by the way. I was not about that. Breastfeeding was like the most miserable thing I've ever tried to do. And if for the moms that do that for like a year, holy crap, you are a superwoman. There's no way.
And to the ones that do it until they're like 6 and 7, stop. Please. There's a line there.
Abuse.
There's a line there that we can't cross now.
We won't even go into that because that's, I mean, I could see like, you know, maybe going past a year old, you know, maybe there's some moms that do it through toddler years. That's still odd to me.
If the baby can ask you, if he can tell you he's hungry, you need to go fix him a plate, all right?
I want that one or that one.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, let's go to the stove.
Get that baby some chicken nuggets.
But we brought him home in that little Honda.
Oh, that little Honda.
To the Starlight Drive house that we just bought. Yeah. We're not even like really settled in yet. It still has that new house smell that we haven't gotten our smell in it yet even.
Boxes stacked everywhere, and that began our journey as parents.
And I go straight back to working, you know, waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning, going to work. And your mom basically moved in with us for a couple months.
Well,
helping.
She stayed with us for probably about a week.
Oh.
And then
maybe it felt like a couple months.
And then after that, the first week was okay because the exhaustion doesn't truly set in until the second week. And the second week, you know, she had gone back home, and you were having to go to bed early, and then you were gone in the early hours of the morning doing that bread route. So there was almost an impending doom that I started to feel every day around 6 o'clock. Because from the hours of, 8 until whenever you got home the next day, it was all me and this baby that I know nothing about, that I'm trying to keep alive and healthy and like fed on time. And Sawyer had colic, and he screamed for the first probably 4 months of his life. Bloody constantly. Murder for hours on end. He screamed.
It was bad.
And it was, I was dealing with very, very severe postpartum depression. And my mental health had been unchecked for a long time at that point, and it had been variable. And then the pregnancy was so exciting that I didn't really have time to think about how I was feeling mentally. And then those nights that I sat awake with him as he screamed, I was in the clutches of a really dark time.
While I was sleeping.
While you were sleeping. I can remember calling my mom a couple times at like 3 o'clock in the morning, just sobbing, like, he won't stop crying. I don't know what to do. And it got to a point where I started driving to her house and staying with her overnight for nights at a time.
I would wake up and you weren't there.
Just because it wasn't even that I needed the help. It wasn't that I needed the rest, which I did. Moms do and dads do too. But it was just the comfort of having another person there for me to know that there wasn't anything wrong with him, that he was just having gas and colic pains, because I felt like, what am I doing wrong? Like, he hates me.
Well, everything is so scary as a new parent. Every little thing that happens, you're like, oh no, he's gonna die. We gotta do something. This is so bad. It's gonna kill him. What's wrong with him? We've done something wrong.
And I had tried to breastfeed, and I had already felt like I failed in that department because it just was completely miserable for me. I did that for maybe a few weeks. Then we switched to formula, and that just messed him up even more with his colic. And that is how we lived. Those first few months, it was just like trying to get rest when we could. You know, I stayed with my mom a lot. I mean, I think there was even a point where there was a couple weeks in a row I would go and stay with her at her house with Sawyer, and thank you so much to my mom, because I could not have done that without her. And I think that she was maybe the first person that had kind of asked me, you know, you seem really down, you know, are you okay? Like, what's going on? And I didn't know a lot about postpartum depression at that time. I mean, I knew about the depression I'd suffered with at other times in my life, but this felt so much different because I felt guilty for feeling sad, because I thought, I'm a new mom, you know, I have this beautiful, healthy boy that I have the privilege of taking care of, and life is good. Why can't I feel like I'm alive? I felt like I was watching myself from outside my body live every day. And I left it unresolved, and that was a huge mistake. And I don't have a lot of regrets in my life, but if I could go back, I wish I would have talked to my doctor. I think that maybe she could have recognized, hey, like, she needs a little extra help during this time, because I was feeling so much guilt. I didn't even want to admit that I was depressed. And so
but it's totally normal.
Yeah, it's so totally normal. And
sometimes it's a lot worse, you know.
And that's why, you know, mental health awareness is so important, not just after a huge life event or even just postpartum depression, but, you know, this is something that a lot of people deal with lifelong, and that's a huge stance that we have in making this is keep check on yourself and make sure that you are good and you feel good so that you can be your best for the people in your life that need you, like your children.
Yeah, you can't get in the habit of sweeping shit under the rug and just not facing it. You have to face what's going on and figure it out.
And I feel like
we didn't do that for a long time.
Exactly. And, you know, the postpartum depression, I tried to brush that under the rug, but I had deteriorated to a point that I'm sorry.
It's okay.
This is really hard to talk about.
Yeah, this episode's probably going to get a little emotional. You know, you're dealing with a lot. You know, we were. If you don't mind, I'll kind of take over for a second and kind of share my thoughts or how I was feeling right after he was born. You know, because it was mostly fear. It was a terrifying experience from start to finish. From, you know, his birth, you know, getting him here was horrifying. Then when he got here, we were just so elated, and everything was just we were so excited. And we got him home, and it sets in, you know, and there's all this pressure. There's, you know, well, all I've ever wanted is to be a husband and a father. All I've ever wanted is to be a good husband and a father, one that they'd be proud of, and that my parents will be proud of, and that my grandparents will be proud of. And here I've found what I wanted, and we got it, and I've got this amazing woman. I've convinced her to marry me, and now I've put her in this whirlwind, right? And now so quickly I've convinced her to marry me and move and buy a house and have a baby, and now we got the baby home, and I'm not thriving. You know, I'm not living up to expectations, to my own, which means that I definitely can't be living up to yours, right? And so I see you going through all this and not talking to me about it. you're at your mom's a lot, which at the time is like, oh my God, it's quiet. It's quiet here, like, nice, you know? And so here we are again, sweeping shit under the rug. Like, you know, we're struggling because neither one of us are sleeping that well. I'm sleeping more than you because because I'm going to work here and you know I have to get up early, so you're a good person and you're letting me sleep, and I'm trying to let you rest when I come home, but you're not able to, you know? Like, everyone knows you sleep when the baby sleeps, you know? That's an easy thing to say, but it's not easy to do when you are so invested in it and you're struggling. You know, you're struggling so bad, and you just wanted, not that you didn't trust me with the baby, of course not, you know, but he was so much, you know, he was so much to handle those first 6 months, you know, and it was 6 months exactly, I think, that I was running the bread route before I stopped. Mm-hmm. And that's when I went back into the restaurant. Mm-hmm. Because I think initially I had gone to try and get a second job. You know, I was like, well, shit, I'm working the bread route early. I could just go get a second job, make a little bit extra money, and that would help out. And instead of that, they offered me a full-time salary job at that point with insurance. Mm-hmm. And that just changed everything. I was like, well, okay, well, that's it. Screw all this, waking up early, going and doing this and slinging bread around. I can go back into the restaurants. I know how to do that. I know I'm good at it, and I know I can run this and make it good. Mm-hmm. But not realizing that, like, of course, that's what we needed. We needed the money, we needed the insurance, we needed the support, and I needed to feel like I was contributing, like I was being what you needed, like I was that head of, not like I'm in charge, but I'm head of household. I'm making the money. I've got insurance provided for us. Here's all this is going to help us out a lot. Not realizing that I'm putting us and you right back into a place of severe insecurity, going right back into a restaurant, the same feelings you had when we moved to Huntsville, Mm-hmm. But now you just had a baby and you're in postpartum and we're going through all this and we're struggling with money and we're not communicating and we're not talking about any of the issues we're having. We're getting over it and moving on, sweeping it under the rug, and it just starts. We really start growing apart here, like really bad.
Yeah, and if you've struggled with mental health problems in the past, you know that when you're really down and really depressed and in a really dark place, it changes the way that you communicate with people. For me, my life has always been, I get angry or I get secluded. So if I'm in a bad place, I feel like I deal with it by just being mad at everyone and speaking to everyone in that way and with that context that I'm mad and I want you to know it. Yeah. I'm mad because I'm mm-hmm. fucking miserable. Yeah. I'm dying inside and I'm so mad that I feel this way. Sorry.
It's okay.
And I took that out on you. And, I've always said that I wish I would have handled myself differently during that time, because it was easy for me to just feel resentment, because I felt like, oh, well, yeah, Corey gets to, stay at home, do whatever he wants. And here I am, taking care of this baby that's got colic, and I want to die, and I don't want to be a mom anymore. And like, I've made a huge mistake. But then the guilt, like, why do I feel this way? I love my baby. I do want to be a mom. It's just so confusing, all the things that you feel and think, And so I was treating you really bad, and I was really mean. I know I was a bitch to you most days. And
well, that's not fair. Let's just say most days.
But I mean, I was pushing you away. I pushed everybody away because, again, angry and then seclusion. So I get mad and then I push everybody out, and then I just want to be by myself. I want to not talk to anybody. I stop returning messages. I stop answering my phone. I stop doing the things that you do to thrive. I stop showering. I stop eating, or I binge eat. So, it's just like I'm just deteriorating, and in the process, so was our relationship. Was just being chipped away at every day.
Yeah, big time. Yeah, we were fighting about everything.
Yeah.
Everything. Money, dishes, Sawyer. Whether you should go to preschool
Time
now
alone,
or later.
Yeah.
Getting time to yourself, yeah. Hey, it's my turn to go smoke. It's my turn to have a cigarette, it's my turn to go, I'm just gonna go for a drive.
Or do anything.
Yeah, or do anything. Or, if and then, at the time I think I had started to play a little bit of music again, and go record music, and that was it felt really awesome, but it was hard to not feel guilty. And that caused some fights, because you get to go do this, and well, I'm gonna go do something. Oh, well, no, I gotta be with the baby, and it's just immature. It's really immaturity, which is to be expected from two young people who.
I was gonna say, just as a reminder of the timeline, like this is the end of 2013. We were married at the courthouse in February of 2012. So we've had 2 major moves, we've bought a house, we've had a kid, and we're still fairly newly married.
Yeah.
And we're just like checking literally everything off the list, like
giving ourselves,
we bought a car.
We took him with colic. We drove him to Clanton. And he was screaming the whole time.
Oh, yeah.
He screamed the entire time we were at the car dealership.
Yeah.
The whole way home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was awful.
It's a wonder that we survived that at all. I feel like a lot of people couldn't have, and I mean, I'm sure people have it worse than that. People probably had worse situations than us, but we were just so, and you say that you were mean to me and you were all this and that, but that was a two-way street too. A lot of it was reactionary on both of our ends. We would say something and we would just react sharply and then just go back and forth and back and forth, and at the time, Sawyer was so little, he didn't know what was going on, so it didn't really matter, and we were just at each other's throats.
That went on for months and months until Sawyer was almost a year old, or he had just turned a year old
in August.
And
then in October you went on that trip.
I went on a trip. A friend of mine she had sold this dog, to somebody in in Illinois, and she was like, you want to just take a road trip to Illinois? And I hadn't ever been far outside of the southeast, so I was like, heck yeah. And so we literally just packed that dog up and we drove. We were gone for a couple days and came back, and it was so fun. And I got back from that trip on a high, and I was like, man, that was awesome.
And I'll probably take over from here. I was really, really struggling with what was going on. And I honestly felt like deep down that some part of you hated me, because of what was going on and the way that we were acting towards each other. Because I thought that maybe you thought I had tricked you, maybe you thought that I wasn't who you thought I was, and so that's why you were being so mean, and that's why you were saying the things you were saying to me, because obviously I'm not right. I'm not the right person. I'm not who you thought I was. I'm not the kind of husband and father you expected. And so when you got back from your trip, I sat you down and I said, I think we should probably go our separate ways, and that this is too hard, and that it's not supposed to be this hard, and I don't think that we're supposed to be this mean to each other and this angry about each other being around, and that, fuck, man, that was a really hard thing, because you did come home on such a high. You were so stoked, and you had gone to pick up Sawyer from your mom and brought him home, and
I had felt like
I crushed you.
When I went on that trip, it was I had a huge revelation about my mental health and how my life was going. And I had sort of decided that trip to make a change. And I guess when you sat me down, it was so out of left field, and I thought, shit, I'm a little too late. I'm sorry, you guys. This is going to be so heavy.
If we need to pause it, we can pause it and come back.
You just don't understand.
I don't really know that either.
How deep our love is for one another, because we've, like we said, it's been messy. There's been some messy things that have happened, and anyway.
Of course, it was out of left field, because we didn't talk. We didn't talk about anything. I didn't know how deep you were struggling. I didn't know that you had. I didn't know until now that you had that revelation on that trip. That's what you were gonna come home to tell me. When I fucking crushed you. You know what I'm saying? So like, we're still figuring shit out here as we go. There's still stuff coming out. I don't know where we would be if that didn't happen. I don't know if we would be. I don't even want to think about it, because who knows? Who fucking knows? It doesn't matter, because there's no way to know, because this is where we are now, and I wouldn't want to be anywhere else, right? But either way, it happened. Either way, I sat you down, and I said what I said, and I did what I did. And I moved in with my brother. I moved my shit out and moved in with my brother, and I started drinking again, a lot. I don't know if we mentioned that before, but before we got together in 2011, like, I was drinking a lot, like, nearly daily, 6 if not 7 days out of the week. But as soon as I moved out of our house, like, well, hang on, I'm kind of getting ahead, because I had that conversation with you, but it was out of left field because you didn't know what was going on. But I was dying. I thought I had fucked everything up. I can't do this. I'm not good enough of a man to keep you happy, keep Sawyer healthy, and keep money in the bank, keep the bills paid. I can't do it. So I've got to run, because that's in my DNA, right? So I ran. I ran straight to a bottle. That October, so for about 2 months, I was drinking a lot, and in that 2 months, a person had come into my life that made me feel some things I hadn't felt about myself. I guess I don't fucking know. But I was with somebody during those months before our divorce had gone through. We were separated. We had gotten lawyers. It was so sad. It was so dark. It was such a dark time. Just so much. And a lot of it's hazy for me. Like I said, I was drinking a lot. Like we had a conversation probably for about 45 minutes before we ever started recording this, because I was like, I blocked so much of this time out, and I drank so much, like, it was tough.
It's crazy, because it's so, I don't think about this time anymore. I have put this all in the past, but I remember it vividly, like, moment by moment, play by play, because when you told me that, you thought this was not gonna work anymore. It was so out of left field, and so I was so confused and in denial, and hurt, at a really low place mentally, and feeling like I was worthless, especially now. So I kind of felt like, I went on that trip, and I looked out at the ocean. We had gone to one of the Great Lakes. I'd never been, and it was just so beautiful. And I was like, when I get home, I'm gonna make a change, because I'm not living the life I want to live, And and then I don't know, you told me those things and you moved out, and I just felt like my world came crashing down, and I felt more alone than I've ever felt, I think.
Yeah, me too. That was, I don't know, things might have gone differently if we had communicated better, if we had known what was going on with each other. We could have, it's possible that we could have figured this shit out a lot sooner, that we know now, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Because it happened, and we were going through the proceedings of getting divorced. You know, we each had a lawyer. We were trying to work out custody. It was not, we couldn't really come to an agreement. And then
no, because both our families were in our ear, and you know, my family was convinced that you were doing things that you shouldn't be doing, potentially with another person, and I wasn't sure of that. I didn't know that, and I didn't want to believe that.
Because that's not who I was, you know.
Because I just thought, you know, I thought that you would stab me before something like that happened.
So did I.
And we still maintained a pretty good relationship though while we were separated. Like, yes, we were both sad and like just trying to make sense of it all, but like we would still get together to sit down. We could have civil conversations, you know, like we were trying to do it the right way. And I brought Sawyer to where you were staying, where you had moved your stuff, and spent the night, and ended up you know, finding some things that I didn't want to find, and something broke in me that day.
Yeah. I've never seen you like that.
When something happens in your life that is so out of left field, you could never even comprehend how, you know, and then you see it with your own eyes. It really was just unbelievable to me, and I mean, of course, there was like a lot of betrayal I felt, and hurt, and anger, and like, just like, why would he do that? Why? What am I not?
Yeah.
You know, that I guess any person that feels betrayed says, what am I not that they are?
It's immediately what everyone goes to, and 9 times out of 10, it's not that, you know, and it wasn't that. It was, what am I not? You know, what am I not?
Yeah.
I'm trying to fill holes, you know, trying to, like, I'm empty. There's parts of me that are missing, that have been missing, that I've never addressed in my life, you know, because I think I'm so good at brushing shit under the rug, because that's what I've just done for 34 years, you know. It's just what I've learned to do, you know.
Yeah.
And so that's what we did. And so lots and lots of alcohol and lots of fights. And that day, where that morning when you found that out, you know, and you stormed out, there's something that you and my mother both said to me that day that I won't quote on air, but you both said the same thing to me that day that really resonated with me, and like should have woken me up, but like dove me pretty deep, you know, farther into the hole. But that's when things turned in our separation to starting to get a little bit more nasty, for a little bit, not for long, but there was a time where I just thought my life was over. You know, there's now, not only is there no chance of reconciliation, now not only does she hate me, you know, I've fucked up so bad, like my soulmate, you know, like a part of me, like you live in me, you know, and I blew it up, right? So I have this job that I have all this responsibility, 18-month-old son, you know, 14-month-old son, separated from my wife, she just found out that I've been with somebody else, and she hates me, and I'm never gonna get my life back. So I might as well just, what's the point? If I'm gonna keep on living, I might as well just live drunk. I might as well just get fucked up all the time and live that way and sleep in the parking lot of work, because I don't want to go anywhere else. Just get messed up and drive to the restaurant and sleep in the parking lot. In my clothes, get up and go to work, and this is how I'm gonna live. And something I wish I could pinpoint it. I wish I could pinpoint the moment. It was probably something my brother said to me at his house. I said, what the fuck am I doing? And luckily at that point you had, I don't want to say gotten over, but you were less angry and more willing to talk to me at all, and we started talking just a little bit over the phone. Of course you'd let me come see Sawyer, and you let him come over, and you let me take you out, on at least a couple dates, as a date, as a not just I'm your baby's father, but as can we go out together and just see if it's still there, And that was a lot for me, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it was, I mean, my goodness, I still loved you to pieces, and I didn't want to love you. I wanted to hate you, but I couldn't help the way I felt. I still loved you. I just didn't want things to feel so hard, and there was a part of me that just felt like deep down, like, this is who I'm supposed to be with. I don't know how we can get through this or how we can work past this, but we have to try, because we were made for each other.
We had to, and I had to show you that that's not me. That's not who I am. That's never been who I am. I've never been unfaithful in my life. Why the fuck did I do that to you?
Yeah.
I mean, it makes no sense, and a lot of people don't come back from it.
Yeah.
And a lot of reason for that is pride and the unwillingness to look within, and not to even say that we fixed it all then, because we didn't.
No.
We didn't solve all of our problems then, but we started talking, we started seeing each other, and it's only because you allowed it to happen, I definitely would have kept trying for a long time, as long as it would have taken.
I remember us talking, and I was like, if this is ever going to work, you have to know and understand that I may never trust you again.
Yeah.
Like, in our whole life, you may have to do crazy stuff to earn my trust. Like, I literally said, like, send me pictures when you're at places, and this and that, and just like ridiculous stuff.
And I was 100% willing to do that. And I did that for a while.
You were, and you did. You were very good about that, but I was so just insecure, but I needed to know that I could trust you, and it had to start with just a little bit.
Yeah.
And you gave me that. I mean, you did. And I've told so many people this story, not the story of what happened, but what happened after, because I've never really known if a person could truly change or if you're just inherently who you are, and there's nothing that you can do. There's things that you can do, but you can't just change what you are and how you are. But you did, and I think that any person after watching you that wants to, and maybe it wasn't changing who you are, because you've always been Corey to me, but you wanted to change your priorities and the way that you carried out your life as a husband and father, and you were so passionate about wanting to make that change that you made it happen, you know? And over the months after you moved back in, you know, I still had so much resentment. I held on to that for a long, long, long time. But, you know, we were able to work through it because you were willing to be different. And I was also willing to be like, you know, I could do a lot of things different to be better for you and to be better to you because I do love you. And so we tried, you know, and I think that over the sort of the year following that happening, you moved back in, and we were just doing the best we could to move past that.
Yeah, definitely.
And that went on for, you know, I mean, we lived that way for a long time, but it's like you said, we were able to move through it, but we never resolved it. It was just, we literally pushed through it and then put it to the back of us, and it's sitting in the back of our mind.
And then anytime that it came up, we just fought about it and then kept on, you know?
Right.
I am so sorry.
Whoopsie.
Whoops, that was an audio technical error. Oh my gosh, busted my eardrums out. I needed a laugh though. I'm glad that happened.
Yeah.
Oh, look, a lot of this, like, this is heavy shit, man. You know, this is heavy shit. We just pushed through that shit. I refused to let that be me, you know, because what happened, like, I materialized every fear that I had. Everything that made me sit you down and say, this can't work. Everything that I was scared of that was going to happen, after that moment that I sat you down, I made all those things happen. And then I saw the results of it. And I saw what it did to you. And I saw what it was doing to my family and to our family. And I said, this is not going to be me. You know, I'm not going to let what they said be true. I'm not going to let what's in my DNA be me. You know, like I have a history of alcoholism and drug abuse in my family. I you know, if anybody who doesn't know that's a gene, it's in you. You know, you just kind of have it. If you get a taste of it, it's gonna spark that shit up. You know, and that's what happened to me. You know, and then I got a hold of it when I met you. You know, again, and like you saved me. You know, and then I blew it all up, and I was just gonna dive right into it again and basically kill myself, you know, drinking. And once I saw, after that morning where you found out and everything happened and you flipped out, threw the phone against the wall. After that moment, the first time that I saw even the tiniest sliver of hope that there was still a little bit of love inside of you, even if you wouldn't show it through, you didn't let me see it all, but I could see it inside of you. That's all I needed. Mm-hmm. That was it. And from that moment, I decided, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna pursue. I'm gonna ask her out. I'm gonna take her out. And then I came over in December sometime, and I asked you if I could move back in. And it was probably a week or two before that Christmas that I moved everything back in.
Mm-hmm. Yep. You moved back in. We went to a couple of marriage counseling sessions, and I remember in the months after you moved back in, we had a lot of revelations with things that we had never spoken about before. Yeah. You had not a breakdown, but you had
it was a breakdown.
You 100%. Sort of had a come apart talking about something from years ago that happened and that affected you deeply, and I started to become more open and honest with you about my mental health. And hey, like, we've never really talked about it a lot, but like, I've struggled pretty bad with my mental health since I was a kid, and you know, I'm going through it right now, and I don't know what to do. I'm scared. I feel completely unlike myself. I have no motivation, you know, and we started having these important conversations that we had never had before, and that helped us to work through
a lot
what happened.
Yeah.
Just because it helped us to see more about maybe potential reasons of like why it happened, right? Because when something bad happens, I found myself constantly still going back to why did this happen? You know, it helped us to find answers
and to understand each other.
And to for
there
sure.
were a lot of things about me that you didn't know. You know, a lot of struggles and things that I didn't know about you. You know,
right,
and that we helps us understand each other and you know where we come from.
Absolutely.
And this episode got heavy.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
So that was a hard obstacle to get through. I've had a pit in my stomach about having to have that conversation for a while.
You
but
and me both, sister.
It was tough, and I can't wait to move into.
Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody is capable of redemption.
Absolutely.
There's always a path to redemption if you're willing to humble yourself, right, and to put someone else first, put everyone else first.
I love you.
Try to do the right thing.
I want you to know that I love you, and I have completely forgiven you.
I love you too.
From the bottom of my heart, you know, our story isn't over.
It's not.
We've covered about half.
If that.
There's some more doozies in store, but last July was when, July 2022, I can confidently say that is totally in the past for me. You're a different man today than you were then, and you're an older and more mature man, and you're amazing.
Thank you. I love you.
And I know
I'm only any of that because of you. You know that.
Well, I know in the depths of my soul, but whatever mistakes we may have made in our marriage, we've learned from them, and I don't have any doubt that, you know, we've got
this is the right place for us.
So much good to do and share, and we
so.
hope that you guys are feeling that too. But thank you for listening today.
Stick it out. Stick through the heavy shit. It's gonna get funny again, I promise.
Yeah, sorry, this wasn't very funny. But again, see us at the yard sale tomorrow.
Yeah.
Pick up trash with us. Yeah. Come pick up trash with us on Earth Day, and stay tuned next week for the next episode.
More of the story.
Friday.
Maybe another baby in the next part of the story. Who knows?
Dum dum dum.
All right. Thanks so much.
Bye, you guys. We got the juice.